Welcome back to realvacantland.com. This is Luke Smith. I've got another property for you. This one is a high traffic retail location. This is where you make money kind of property. So we've got a gas station next door. It's Raceway. On the other side, we've got KFC selling, chicken and stuff, right? And then in between, we've got a property with nothing on it. This is where you could build your shop. This is where you could build a shop for somebody else and rent it to them, or build a shop for your own business. We've got a bunch of traffic going by out front. There's a Lowe's Home Improvement across the street, and a Rural King behind us, and a bunch of other shops around the area I'll get into soon as well. This particular property I've got listed on Cruxy.com. Cruxy.com, I think, has been killing it the last couple of years. They use a lot of data and a lot of marketing and things to present commercial properties. And one of the asset types that's close to my heart is commercial vacant land. Vacant land, right? I'm always doing vacant land trades all across the country, all different kinds of vacant land. But commercial vacant land, it's happening on Cruxy. I've posted and sold and done different commercial vacant land deals all over the place and lots of different channels. And Cruxy brings in the most leads to me through my brokers, through my channels, through what I've seen and what I've experienced. Cruxy's bringing in the most leads. So I spend more time on Cruxy than the others. Maybe that makes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But that's where my heart is. So on Cruxy, we've got auctions. So up here at the top, they've got the auctions, a little tiny link. I think it should be a lot bigger, but that's the way they have it. And right now, they've got a number up top there. It says 53 auctions. They got 53 auctions going on the Cruxy website. And they've got all kinds of things from, old age homes to land to old multifamily RV parks, shopping centers, drive-through locations, you name it. All kinds of stuff goes by on here. Commercial properties, and more commercial properties. So I like the fact that they're doing land. And so we've got a bunch of different land on here. And so today we're looking at this property right over here, and the starting bid is $10,000. It says bidding starts March 13th, and the auction ends on March 15th. So it's coming up whenever you're watching this video. That's the timeline. If you're watching this video after that, it's going to be gone. It won't be shown on here anymore. This particular property is on Berkmont Avenue in Morganton, North Carolina. $10,000 starting bid. It's the perfect market to have an auction. We don't know what the market price is on this stuff. We're just putting it out there. Like I used to put properties on eBay for $1 and just see what happens. Let's see how many of those we can put on the market in a day, right? I did that for a long time, and it's great. It's a lot of fun, but they don't have the service that Cruxy does. Cruxy, you can go take tours of these properties. We've got Tim Newton over here. Tim is the broker on this property. He'll answer the phone. You can talk to him. You can send him messages. And he drives by this property every day between his house and his office. And he's the local guy that knows the people in the area, knows the local customs and a lot of the local stuff. So it's our local boots on the ground. If you have those kinds of questions, Tim Newton. Audrey Hanna is on deck for auction logistics. Audrey is set up and ready to go to talk to you about qualifying for the bid. We want to make sure you've got liquid assets ready to go to pay for this thing. If you're bidding on it, you've got to be able to pay for it within 30 days after buying it. It's like 10% down when the bidding's complete. And they just want to make sure that you're true, live, available, real, not a computer bidding on this thing. You understand what you're bidding on. So these guys are here to answer a bunch of questions for you. And got descriptions set up of the property, and we've got a data vault over here. So we've got some other pictures too before we jump into the data vault. So there's a rendering of the KFC. This is grass right now, but there could be a shop in between here. And then the gas station on the other side. There's just different examples of different kinds of shops and stuff that could go there. Okay, so they've got a due diligence vault. They got a flyer and see due diligence. So if it's your first time to Cruxy, your first time in one of these auctions, you got to sign up, and they ask for like your name and phone number or email or something like that. And you fill that out and you can get in here. And so then you get into third-party reports. And see, 154 on the third-party reports. Everyone probably thinks I'm crazy, but I love data, guys. This is what drives me. This is what, makes my day. This is where I shine. I like that. That's how I find these properties. And that's how I like to present these properties. So if you like that kind of information, stay tuned. So the first thing on this list in these third-party reports is I put together a little traffic neighborhood and analysis. If you click on that, I put some snippets in here, and I'm gonna walk you through it more than show it on the screen. But if you go play around with the data vault, you can see it in more detail than as fast as me going by. Okay, so I start out in there with a neighborhood analysis, and I talk about. I started with Bojangles, not because it makes sense, just because it's like at the top, and I thought I'd work my way through. And so let's start with Bojangles. Bojangles, they're doing 8,300 customers a month at this Bojangles, and if we pull up the reports on that particular Bojangles, and I'm just going to jump into the rankings and skip all this other stuff that they're. Okay, so we're jumping into the rankings. Come on, Bojangles. Yeah, 80%. We're getting 80 percentile of this Bojangles. So there's the pile of Bojangles is over here. That's where the vast majority of Bojangles are in numbers of customers, people. I should say people that visit the restaurant. Maybe they're not all customers, but the counting the people that go through the restaurant on a daily basis. In this case, it's a monthly basis or annual basis or whatever. But the 708 Bojangles, out of 708 Bojangles, this one's ranked 80 percentile. That's like 79% of the Bojangles that are out there that are mapped, they get less traffic than this one. 20% or 19% get more traffic than this one, right? So that's our percentile kind of ranking. And to me, that makes a lot more sense than counting the cars that go by, is percentile rankings of these kinds of shops that could go there. Maybe you agree with me, maybe not. So when I was looking at that, I'm like, okay, that's pretty neat. They're getting a lot of people. Where are they coming and going from? And if we figure out where they're coming and going from, we can kind of model the traffic and see what's going on in this area. And so when I looked at where they're coming and going from, we got Walmart, Lowe's, and Rural King. They're coming from Walmart, Lowe's, and Rural King. And where are they going after? They're going to Lowe's, Walmart, and Rural King. Like, okay, so we got Lowe's, Walmart, and Rural King in this market. So if we go back, our property is right here next to the KFC, right? And so we're in between the KFC and the gas station. And across the street is Lowe's. So there's Lowe's. There's one of our culprits. If we look at the traffic on that sucker, they're getting 65,000 customers a month. That's a lot of overflow. That's a lot of people going by. They're going to their Lowe's that might shop at whatever we put on our property. And then behind us, we've got Rural King. Rural King is doing 57,000 customers a month. You put those two together, we're in between, Rural King and Lowe's. Maybe some of that's the same traffic. I mean, we could look at it and see how much of it's the same traffic and how much of it's separate traffic, but you get my point. We're in between two of the major comings and goings of the area. The Walmart is across the street, up around the corner, somewhere over here. Over here, I think. Yeah, here's Walmart. And there's some other shops and stuff around Walmart. But we got Lowe's and Rural King on either side of us. This used to be a Walmart. This was a smaller, older Walmart built in like 82 or 85 or something. They moved up the street to a bigger location, and Rural King took over their location. So this shopping center behind us has Harbor Freight, has Big Lots, has numerous other culprits in there that draw people as well. If you've ever been to a Harbor Freight, I mean, do you go to Harbor Freight and then you go shop at the store next door? No. Do you go from the store next door to a Harbor Freight? No. I mean, it's like very specific traffic that comes in and out. I mean, they might go to the restaurants, but not the, you know what I mean. So this shopping center that's got the Rural King, the Harbor Freight, the Big Lots, and other stuff is called Magnolia Plaza. They're doing 120,000 visits a month. And so that's all the people, not adding the shops together, but people coming and going from the shopping center, whether they're going just to Harbor Freight or they're going to Harbor Freight and then the Subway sandwiches or something and out. It just counts them, once instead of twice, right? So my point is 120,000 customers a month coming and going from the same parking lot. that is to the back of this property. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people to draw traffic off of. Okay, so that was the first part of the neighborhood analysis that I put in there. And we talk about, okay, so then it jumps into, we've got a Taco Bell here somewhere. I think it's right here. Taco Bell and KFC. So let's take a look at KFC. So KFC, let's jump into their ranking. 4,300 people a month going to the KFC, and they're right next door. I mean, that pays rent. 4,300 people a month pays rent, in my opinion. So in KFC, that's 87 percentile. 4,300 people a month puts them into 87 percentile. That is 12 or 13% shops that have more traffic than this one, but it's also 77% or whatever, you can do the math. The vast majority of them that are still paying rent in other locations have a lot less traffic than this. And then Taco Bell is the same kind of story. And if you catch my drift, these other shops, these other big name shops are in the area and they're not dead. They're not like about to turn the lights off and go dark on us. They're happening. They're in business. More shops ought to come to the area and do business here too. So Taco Bell, look at that, 88 percentile. Go Taco Bell. They are doing it. 88 percentile. They're doing traffic here. They're doing business here. They're paying rent. There's a bunch of room for these people to come shop at our shop too and not kick Taco Bell out of business. Like, it's not, usually you get more business being next to these kinds of guys than putting them out of business. Okay, so Taco Bell. Yeah, and then I wanted to talk about the next one that comes up is Dunkin' Donuts. So right across the street here is Dunkin' Donuts, right? And so the Dunkin' Donuts had just opened. And so, and I was looking at the data on this before. I did like instead of the last year, I looked at the last 3 months because it just opened, right? And so let's see if I can do that. Let's look at the last 3 months instead of the last year, because you can't look at a year when they just opened. It doesn't, Okay, so the last 3 months on Dunkin' Donuts, these guys are doing 16,400 visits a month, I think it is. Dunkin' Donuts is killing it here with traffic. Ranking isn't as high as the others, but there's a ton of Dunkin' Donuts to compete with. 6,238 Dunkin' Donuts. Out of that, this one is ranked 72 percentile. And they just opened, so they're still building up their like brand awareness in the area and repeat customers, and it usually just gets better over time. They just open, they can do some marketing and get people to keep coming back and watch that number go even higher. Yeah, so there's the Dunkin' Donuts. I was trying to figure out what Dunkin' Donuts paid for their property. There's some data that kind of looks like they paid like $180 something thousand for it, but it's a piece of a bigger deal and they broke pieces off, and I can't really see exactly what they paid for it, but that would be the latest transaction in the area of this property, if you will. Now, if we go back to the auction, the bid here starts at $10,000, like $10,000, and we're going to let the market go and see what it goes for, and see how it flies. I think the Dunkin' Donuts sold since they built it. You can go on Cruxy and look up, if you pay for the subscription, what stuff sold for, and I think it was like the 1.6 million or something, but it's going to be selling off the revenue of the rent on the building, right? And not just the land. But I think the land trade was, you can back into that and see what you're willing to pay for a property like this to build another Dunkin' Donuts style place across the street in between KFC and Raceway. That's the opportunity. That's the beauty of it, right? I'm going to leave the numbers out of it. Okay, so let's jump in and let's take a look at the void analysis as another one in the data vault here. To get to the data vault, you got to go to the link in the description of this video. It'll take you back to the Cruxy website and you can click in from there. So the void analysis, I love these tools, right? I'm a data guy, and here's a whole bunch of data. We can put a property in there that doesn't have anything built on it. We can study all the traffic that's coming and going from all the shops around there with the demographics, whether the people are married or not, what kind of ethnicity they are, what kind of drive times they are, where they're living and sleeping and eating and working, and study it all and say, this restaurant is missing. This auto parts store is missing. This bank is missing. These people with these demographics should shop at this one, and it's a highly, here's a statistical number of how highly likely it is that this thing fits this property. And so that report is here in the data vault of this property. And at the top of the list, it's coming up with stuff like the medicine shop, drugstore, and pharmacies. Just a little drive-through window, grab your prescription, right? Like a lot lighter footprint than a Walgreens or a CVS or Rite Aid or something. Those kinds of places are popping up in lots of markets. And then it's pizza shops, Long John Silver's, Penn Station, East Coast Sub, Hungry Howie's Pizza, Take 5 Oil Change. This is accounting for the size of the property, like the footprint, what kind of these brand names fit into this kind of footprint of a property too. Schlotsky's Deli, Restaurant, Deli, Suntan City. So the list goes on and on, all kinds of different names here and statistics that you can look at. You can see how fast they're growing in this state or shrinking in this state, and how many locations they have. Like Quest Diagnostics, they've got 162 locations in the state and 6,000 in the country, and they're actually shrinking in this state. But Quest Diagnostics, I'm surprised they're shrinking, but whatever they are. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, they've got 62 locations in this state, and they're growing. They're up, they've been adding on new locations, so you can map out who's adding new Valvolines and go market to them. Maybe another Valvoline oil change shop goes on this property, and you could sell it to them or build it for them and rent to them, or have them build it and rent to them afterwards, or whatever you can negotiate with those guys. That's the beauty of commercial land. There's a lot of levers you can pull, right? Okay, so let's go back to this and let's do an example. Here's a Jiffy Lube. Okay, so we've got a Jiffy Lube goes here. So here's a report that says Jiffy Lube goes here. And it goes into the demographic fits of the property. The nearest location is 44 miles away, the next Jiffy Lube. And they're usually 2,000 to 3,000 square foot builds. There's 65 Jiffy Lubes in the state. They usually get about 2,000 customers a month to their location, the Jiffy Lube locations. It's looking at population density. This one's a little lighter on population density than the top 25 performing Jiffy Lubes. It doesn't mean that Jiffy Lube doesn't fit here. It just, if we had more people in the area, it would maybe fit even better. But like, there's a lot of different numbers to look at. So they give you a lot of the different things to look at. Similarity scores in education and household income and household prices, housing values, and lining all this up to say this Jiffy Lube fits here with a similarity score of 56 out of 100. So it fits, but it's not like perfect, exacto fit, but it's close. And here's a map of like the different Jiffy Lubes in the area. It's like there's a gap. Jiffy Lube. Why isn't there a Jiffy Lube in between? So you can look at that on a whole bunch of different names and examples in the data vault. So click on the data vault on the Cruxy listing. To get there from this video, there's a link in the description. It'll take you back to the Cruxy listing. And then you can go figure out different things you could do with this property. So back to the listing. And I want to wrap this up and say thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is Luke Smith, ruralvacantland.com. Go to the link. Go check this out. See you in the next one. Bye.